Hello guys, welcome to today's class. I hope you can hear me. Okay, so yeah, today we'll be talking about HTML fundamentals. And I promise it's going to be very, very easy. Okay, so we are targeting beginners. So there won't be any form of complexity. I'll try to make it as easy as possible. All right, so let's see. What are you supposed to expect from this course today? Yeah, I'm going to touch on simple concepts and make them simpler. Okay, so yeah, just be comfortable and you are sure to learn and master what you'll be taught in this class. Okay, so you get comfortable with HTML. Yeah, after this class, I want you to adopt this mindset. Okay, while taking this course. Yeah, you've conquered things that are far more difficult than coding. Okay, so yeah, if we get to share our stories, we'll understand that okay, we have gone through tougher stuff than coding. So this is not the toughest thing in this world. It's not rocket science. It's very, very easy. Okay, but yeah, it being easy will be based on your commitment to it and your practice. Okay, so just have this mindset. Coding is not that hard. Okay, I don't want to say coding is easy, but it's not that hard. So yeah, computer is your own. So I noticed that students so you need your browser and your text editor. Am I still live? I need to be sure that we're in class, okay? I need to be sure that we're in class. Sorry, I'm having internet issues and that's why you see the break. Okay, so yeah, should be live. Okay. I need to be sure that we're in class. All right, now I see that you can see my screen and you can hear me. All right, let's go. So you need a browser, a web browser. I prefer Google Chrome. Okay, so be free to experiment, but I would advise you to go with Google Chrome. Okay, and you need a text editor. All right, so let's start. I'll come back to this note later, but let's get our hands dirty. Now, on your text editor, you're expected to be on your project. That is the interface we are supposed to see has to be your project file. And how do you do that? You simply create a folder, all right? And that's easy. If you are using VS Code like I am now, it's very easy to do, okay? There are other text editors that you can try out. We have Sublime Text, we have Notepad++, we have Notepad, of course, and we have VS Code, we have WebStorm, we have a lot of them. So feel free to try them out, but yeah, I'd advise that you go with VS Code. All right, let's go. So just click on File on this menu, click on Open Folder. Okay, we're trying to open our project folder. Click on Open Folder. Now you should know how to navigate your Explorer. All right, so select your choice location to save your project folder, or in case you have already created folders, locate it and open. For me, I'm going to choose Zuri, the Zuri folder, and I'll go into HTML fundamentals and I'll say class, or I'll say Letterhead, because this is what we're going to be building with HTML in this class. Yes, so I'll name my project Letterhead and I can now open. So select folder, and here we are. I have a fresh project open on VS Code, okay? So you can close this welcome screen and now you have a fresh, workspace. So you have some icons here, new file, new folder, refresh and collapse, all right? So you should be concerned about the new file at this level. You can check out these other ones, okay, and know how it works. But for now, let's do the new file. I want to create a file, okay? Now, I would advise you to always think of your HTML files as documents, okay? That should be somewhere in your mind. These are documents. We are creating a document, okay? So what do I need to create a document? I need the document name and I need to specify the document format. All right, so many of you must have been seeing, different file formats. We have MP3, we have MP4, we have PNG for images. Yeah, we have GIF, we have JPG, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to specify a web format for our document, and that format is HTML. Okay, so I have to first of all give this document a name. Okay, again, I'm targeting beginners, so I would be doing this in a very basic way. Okay, so all we're doing is file name, okay, dot a period and file type. So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, this is the syntax. All right, so let me replace. This should be index dot file type is what? HTML. Okay, so like this, we are specifying that we want to create a web document. All right, so there we go. We have it created. Okay, so I want to collapse these areas so that we can have enough space here. Now, I am in my index.html document. Now, index is a special name, okay, for web documents. When you build a site and you want a user to visit, a particular page when they browse your site. For example, you have a site, www.samuel.com. The first page that you want every user to see when they visit that site should be named index. Okay. Now, if you go online, you see, other tutorials, and you get to find out that you can do this other ways. Okay. But for now, just embrace this. Okay. Yeah. The first page on every website, or the default page on every website, should be named the index.html. Okay, so index is like a reserved file name. All right, so you don't go about naming any file the index. Okay, so yeah. Now we are about to start writing. Okay, I want you at this level, okay, to see your web document as a letter to your browser. Okay, we want to communicate with our browser. We want to send messages to our browser. So we need a writing space. Okay, that would be your sheet or your notes. Okay, or your writing sheet, your plain sheet. All right, so this is what we have here that you are seeing. It's a plain sheet where we want to construct a letter that will send to our browser, and our browser can understand what we are saying. Okay, and the second thing that we need a language. Now, this language has to be something that the browser understands, and that language is called HTML. HTML means hypertext markup language. Okay, I know that you've done that before. Okay, so I'm just trying to refresh your mind. So let's go. Now, the reason you are here to learn how to speak the language that your browser understands. Okay, so that's what we are doing. HTML is a language that the web browser understands. Okay, so yeah, obviously your websites will be displayed in web browsers, so you need a way to interact with them, and that is a language, and that is called HTML. Okay, so that is that. All right, now I would be proceeding to write. Okay, so let's go. When writing HTML codes, you make use of something called tags. Okay, let me zoom in my screen. I hope that you can see it. Zooming. Okay, this should be fine. Yeah, we make use of something called tags. Okay. Yep. What are tags? Tags are, the basic building block for every HTML element. Okay. We have an element. We have a tag. Okay. The tags are used to form elements. All right, so we have different special tags. We have the HTML tag, we have the body tag, we have the title, we have P for paragraph, we have H1, we have H1 to H6. Yeah, we have table, okay, we have italics, we have strong. We have a lot of them, okay, quite a lot of them. So what do you use these tags for? You use them to create elements. Now, as you can see, this should be intuitive, okay? We use the HTML tag to create an HTML element. Sorry, okay. We use the body tag to create a body element. We use the title for a title element, P for a paragraph element, or a P element, H1 for H1 element, just like that. Table for table element. I, which stands for italics, for italicized element. Strong for, bolded elements, okay, where you want emphasis. All right, so these are tags. Okay, so how do you construct tags? the HTML, okay, or the browser doesn't understand this plain text here. It understands a special type of, you know, uh, dialogue or a language, okay, which is this HTML like this. And this is, sorry, this is a tag, okay? We just succeeded in creating a tag. It's this easy, okay? So we have the less than symbol, the name of the tag in between, and the greater than symbol, okay? That gives you a tag, all right? Now, tags can be represented in different forms, okay? As you can see, uh, Visual Studio Code is smart enough to, you know, just give us the complete element. It knows we are trying to create an HTML element, so it gives us complete, all right? So like this is a tag complete. When it's complete, okay, it's an element, it forms an element, all right? So that is what we have here, all right? You notice the difference between both of them. HTML, this first one is called the opening tag, and this is called the closing tag, okay? What's the difference? As programmers, you are supposed to be very vigilant, okay? Yeah, you're supposed to notice any slight change in your code. Yeah, so you should have seen by now that we have something here. This is the forward slash. Now, the forward slash is used, okay, in front of the tag name to denote a closing tag. Okay, so now we have an opening and a closing tag. All right. Okay, so that is that for that. That is for the HTML. Yeah. If we want to create a body element, what do we do? Opening body, then closing body. Now, again, this guy will do it for us. It's smart enough to just do it for us, okay? But yeah, you should know that any tag you open has to be closed, okay? Now, there are exceptions to every rule, but just have this in mind. When you open a tag, ensure that you close it before you proceed. This is to avoid, you know, stories that touch. Okay, so we have the title like this. I'm taking my time because I am targeting the very beginners. All right, so many of you must have gotten ahead of this stage by now, but there are some that are still struggling. Okay, so just, yeah, allow them come up to speed. Okay, so this is this. All right, let me move a little bit faster. We're going to be making use of tags throughout our coding career. Okay, if you want to be front-end dev, you cannot run from this. You make use of this throughout. Okay, one way or the other. Yeah, one way or the other. To make use of this. So get used to it. Practice, practice, practice. Let's go. So for me to construct a page, okay, a document that can be translated to a page, I'll need to do something like this. HTML, opening, closing. I'll come in between and I'll say head. I'll come here and I'll say body. Okay, so like this, I have successfully constructed a document that can be translated to a page by the browser. Okay, yeah, this is at the very basic stage. This is valid. Okay, so if I want something that is visible, I'd have to maybe do a paragraph and say this is a valid page. Now, I'm going to, deliberately leave out some tags here. Okay, as we progress, as we hold other classes, we are going to come to, know of those tags, the meta tags, okay, and some other tags that could be confusing for a beginner. I'm going to leave them out, but we are not going to leave the title out. So this is a title. Okay, so now what's happening here? Let me quickly open this on our browser. Okay, open this in our browser. You can see in our browser we have this is a valid page. Okay, so this guy successfully, you know, has been translated to produce this guy. All right. So what's happening behind the scenes? Behind the scenes, the your web browser is, going to form a structure, okay, that it could read, okay, getting your file, it reads your file, and it forms a object model, and you can, recall that I told you earlier that this should be regarded as a document. Okay, so the browser, forms a model out of it. Now, you don't have to be confused about that. Just take it as it is. Okay, yeah. As you grow, okay, yeah. When you begin any journey, you are beginning as a child, so you have to just accept some things as they are. Then, as you grow, you begin to ask questions and you begin to get clarity. But if you try to get too much, deep into stuffs, you get confused. Yeah, so that's one problem every self-taught developer, had to face. Yeah, so that is it. There's something called the dome. Have it at the back of your mind. Come back and follow me. Okay, so we have a paragraph here. What's happening here? What's happening here is simply that there is something called the parent-child relationship. Okay, you see the HTML is housing every other element that we have. This is an element, it's called the body element. This is the head element. The head element has a child called the title element, and all of them are children of what's now the HTML element. Okay, so just remember it. HTML has to include everybody. So all tags or all elements have to be wrapped, in the HTML tag, okay, or the HTML element. Then you have the head. This is where you specify, some page properties, like the title. So I can say letter head here. And save. I hope that's correct. Okay, now you get to know that I cannot spell. Okay, so that's it. When I save, I've saved, and when I refresh, I get that title. Okay, so let me show you that. Let me show you that if I hover on this tab, you see letterhead. Okay, that's the title we specified. Okay, so that's how you get that. Now, this head, you specify all kinds of things inside this head, okay, that are not visible to the user. But everything inside this body, okay, yeah, everything inside this body would be seen by the user except scripts. Okay, so when we get to scripts, you would understand what that means. But for now, just know that everything you want to be seen in the browser has to be in this body. Now, HTML happens to be very forgiving. Okay, you might make mistakes and it will correct it for you. All right, so for example, the p tag ought to be in the body, but if you put it here inside the head, but this is very bad, you are going to regret it. Okay, so you're breaking the rule. The p tag is a content, element. It has to be here. It doesn't have to be in the head. Okay, so if you do this, it works. Let me save and refresh. It works. You can see that it works. If I inspect this page, you would see that the dome was created and everything was rearranged for me. Okay, so yeah, the browser understands that, okay, you're trying to render a P or a paragraph and it ought to be in the body, so it does that for you. But don't do this. Don't ever write content inside the head. You would get unexpected results. So I'm trying to let you know that there are some bad practices, okay, that you could, indulge, and you might be forgiven, but you pay for it later. So your P ought to be here. So you know your tags and you know where they're supposed to be. All right, so what are we trying to create in this class? In this class, we're trying to create a letter, a very beautiful letterhead. Let me show you how that looks. Open a file and HTML fundamentals here. Okay, boom. This is what we're trying to create. Okay, I would be leaving some things out, but this is what we'll get. And at the end of the class, I expect that you guys will go back, and try to make it look exactly like this. Okay, continue from where we stop and try to make it look like this. Okay, so how do you approach building something like this or anything at all? How do you start? Now you start by simply doing a sketch. Don't ever fall for the temptation of going into code. You have the idea in your mind and you want to code it from your mind. I know that you have superpowers. Okay, I know that you are intelligent, but please don't. Yeah, nobody you up for it. Okay, so your basic model. Okay, so bring your mental model and put it on a paper. Okay, and start coding. Yeah, that's what you ought to do. Okay, so let me show you what the sketch would look like. A sketch of this. What would it look like? Open the file once more. Come here, and yeah, this is what it would look like. It looks ugly, right? Okay, but yeah, it starts from here, then it's designed, developed into a prototype or a UI, and you see it as beautiful as this. Okay, but it starts always starts like this. Okay, in most cases. Okay, the designers know better, but this is how you start. You sketch your idea, then you can start coding. If you have a designer, you could give it to your designer. Okay, and they could make it better before you start coding. If not, with this you can code. All right, so I think we're going to make use of these and start to work. All right, so this is where we are. Just know that the head houses the title. Okay, that's enough for now. You can go and read more about the head. Okay, but for this class, I will restrict it to this. I don't want to complicate things. Okay, then the body houses the content. So you should know that everything we're going to be writing to produce this that we have here is going to be in the body. Okay, yeah, everything that's going to be visible will be in the body. Okay, so you make use of tags. Tags are like your words when you speak to the browser understands tags. When it sees a tag, it knows that, okay, you're trying to create a paragraph. Let me do that. Create it and renders. You're trying to do this. Let me do that. All right. So yeah, that's what it does. Basically goes through your document and forms its own model, okay, and works with that. But forms its own model, which is document object model from what you specify using tags. All right. So let's go. This I'll be creating, and we have different sections here. We have the top section. We can call that the letterhead, okay? And we can call this the body, and we can call this the footer. Okay, I'm just trying to give you names here that we can easily identify with. This could be the head, this could be the body section, and this could be the footer. Okay, so that is that. But in this document that we see, there are lots of uh, elements that are being used here. Okay, so I want us to learn those elements individually, then we'll bring that knowledge together and we'll form this. Okay, we might not be able to do the whole of this, but with what we would do, you should be able to continue and get it complete on your own. Okay, so let's go. We have the image, which is the logo that we see here. Sorry, I have to open this again. Yep, I have to open this again. So this is the logo. This is a text, okay. I would use a list to produce this, although this is not a list. It's an image, it's an icon with a text, but I want to use list so that you learn how to use list, okay? So, and this is, just a text area. We have paragraphs here. This is a paragraph. This is a paragraph, and just like that. So these are paragraphs here, all right? We have a, text here. This could be an heading. I know that you can see it, but I hope that you can see the icon and, just flow along. So what will we be learning? We'll be learning how to create the following elements. Let me show you. Yep. So we've talked about this, yeah, we'll talk about this, talk about attributes and the rest. So let's go. So we have tags here. Now, if I want to create that heading or the letterhead, I would use something called a div. All right. Now, this div is a special element that says I'm trying to create a division. Now, I'm using the word division so that you understand, okay? It's like a partition. Now, there's something I need to mention. This should be seen as a real estate. Okay? It's like a land. It's an land I want to be inside it. Sections of this page. I want to create partitions of this page. Okay, now I can do that using the div. Now that is that element that you just saw, the div element. Okay, so this is it. Give spaces so that you can see. Yeah, what's going on? This is a div. Okay, a div is called a block element. What do we mean by block? A div takes up the entire width of its, row. For example, this is where the div is, okay? This is like the first element on the page because there's no other element, in respect to the body. There's no other element. This is the first element. And this is a div, okay? It takes the entire width. What it means is if I have to create another element here, it would stack under this. It would be under this. This guy, is blocking nature. It blocks the entire space, okay? We have other tags that are inline in nature, okay? You know the importance of these as we proceed. This is an example of an inline tag, the span. What does this mean? It means that when you create an element that is a span, okay, it means other elements can still exist beside it. For example, you can have another span beside it on the page, just like that. Okay, let me demonstrate this physically so that you can see. Now I'm going to do something that you have not seen, but just ignore what I'm doing. Now for the, guys that have gone ahead, you probably understand what I'm doing. So I want to, target my div and see that it should have a border 1px solid black so that I can see it on my page, and should have a height of 100px. Okay, so when we get talking about CSS, we'll explain that. Okay, so this is it. If I come to my browser, and refresh, we have a div, as you can see, and it's taking the entire width. Okay, that's how divs behave. Now let me do the same for span. And you see that they really do, behave differently. So this is div, this is a div. I'll say this is a span, and I'll come here to create another span and say this is another span. All right, so if I come back and refresh, you see that the div takes up the entire width, but the span doesn't. The span takes up, the exact, size of its content. Okay, the span expands according to the content that it has. Okay, so that is that this type of elements, the div elements, they are called block elements. So they block, the way, okay? But span are called inline. Inline means they are in line. You are seeing that they are in a straight line. So you can interpret it like that, okay? If I happen to right click and inspect, so let me get more properties of this guy. You would see the under computed that this is a block element. Okay, it has a display of what? Of block. Okay, if I inspect, don't worry, we'll learn how to do all this as we proceed. I just want you to see. If I inspect and come here for the span, you see that the span, sorry, let me inspect my span. My span should be inline. So you see display inline. So they are inline elements and they are block elements. You have to understand that. All right. So now looking at what we are going to create, that letterhead, you can see that to make that head or the letterhead, okay, so we might have to figure out a better name for that, okay, but to create that head section, you know already by now that we need a block, element like the div, okay, so that is that. So we have the div there, we have the span here, so block and inline, okay. There are other types of, we can make these elements to behave differently, okay. We can make it inline, block, and so on and so forth. But for now, just understand these two basic, okay. So that should be fine. All right. So what's the next thing that we're supposed to talk about? We're supposed to talk about attributes, okay. Now, this div is an entity, okay. When I say entity, it stands alone. Like you are an entity and you have attributes, right? You could be described as black, you could be described as white, okay, yeah, just saying. So you could be described using different things, tall, short, yeah, slim, like that. There's several ways to describe it. So how do we describe our elements? We use something called attributes. Okay, we can give them attributes, but most of the attributes that will be given are already predefined. For example, like for human beings, height is already predefined. It's an attribute that everybody has. You have a height, no matter how tall you are. It's called height. Okay, so there are predefined attributes that are used for elements. Okay, so we have for the div, we have ID. It's an attribute. We can give it an ID. ID simply means identification. Okay. Just take it like that. So what you specify here would be used to identify this div amongst others. As you begin to code, you have several divs. Okay, so how do you identify one? If I'm trying to talk to one of the divs, I'm trying to target it with CSS. How do I go about that? Okay, you go about that by simply using your ID, or you give it a class. Okay, it could belong to a class. Okay, what's a class? A class is like a group. For example, um, you're in school. Okay, I'll use your levels as classes. Okay, you are in 100 level. You have different students. Okay, in 100 level. All right, but everybody has an ID. Your matric number, that's your math number. Okay, so no two persons can have the same math number, but two persons can be in the same class. Okay, so that's simply how it works here. Okay, so we have an ID. We can say this is first div, or let me simply say letterhead. All right, letterhead, and we can simply come here and say this is hide ID, sorry, letter body. Okay, so that's fine because we have just one head, just one body, and just one footer. Okay, so I can see ID letter, what's now footer. Okay, this works. All right, for the class. Okay, now these guys, I'll find it hard to put them in the same class. Okay, but here's what I want you to see. Yeah. I'll just do this so that you see it. I could say they are in the red class. Okay. Now, what does that mean? it means that everybody in this class would have a red shirt. They are all going to be red. Okay, so class red is like a uniform for the class. Okay, so my syntax, I'm going to explain this deeper. The time is not enough, truly. So, but let's keep going. Yeah, we have the ID, we have the class. So I could just come here and say dot red, background color red. By so doing, everybody that belongs to the red class, the dot here is used to specify a class. Okay, I want to target a class of red. So everybody that would have this red inside their class attributes would become red in color. Okay, so if I refresh, should work. And you see we have 1, 2, 3. They are all red. Okay, that's how it works. That's how classes work. Okay, if I come here and say hash is for ID, so this is the pound sign. Okay, but we'll call it hash. Okay, so yeah, the pound sign is for ID. So if I say ID of letter body, I want you to have a background color of yellow. Okay, so that's what gives you yellow for that. Okay, if you come back here, you see that a letter body is this guy and it has a background color of yellow. Okay, even though it belongs to the class red, this guy is overriding. Okay, we are going to explain that as we go. This is not the CSS class, but I just wanted to show you that we have such attributes. These are attributes. How do you know an attribute? Okay, this is an element. Now this is an element P. All right, this is an element. This is a paragraph element. All right, it has an attribute of class. Now, the class, this is the syntax of attributes. They have attribute name, an equal to sign, you know, a quotation mark, okay, or 2 quotation marks, okay, and the value inside of the quotation marks, okay, or the quotes or the delimiters, okay. You can call them by different names, okay, but this is the syntax, okay. This is how you specify an attribute. An attribute is always found in the opening tag. In the opening tag, you see that this is the opening tag, this is the first tag, this is the closing tag. It has our / you can see. So this is the opening tag, this is where you put your attributes, and your attributes are supposed to have, you know, the attribute name and the value. All right, I'm pressed for time. Okay, let's proceed. All right, so I come back and I see class. All right, so apart from the class and ID, we will have other types of, you know, attributes. We could have the style okay. We can use this to write 2px solid black. This is a style, and refresh, you'd see that I have a paragraph that has a tick border. Okay, so that's how it works. That's it. That's that for attributes. So let me stop there. As we continue, we are going to make use of attributes more and more. All right. So refer back here. We have style. We have title. Okay. So we just talked about the style. How does the title attribute works? How does it work? Sorry, title. So this is the attribute name. Now, as you can see, we can have more than one attributes for an element. Okay, so just like a human being, you can have more than one attribute. You can have a big guy like me, you can, you know, you can be black, you can be tall. So these are different attributes, so you specify them inside the opening tag, and, you know, just like this: name, value, name, value. So name equal to value space, name equal to value space, just like that. As long as it supports, okay, as long as that tag supports the type of attributes that you are giving it. Okay, as we go ahead, you understand what it means. So let's go. For title, this is what it will be. For title, this is what it will be. I'll say HTML. Okay, so let me say this is an HTML element. All right, so if I come here, refresh, and I hover on top of it, you should see HTML. So that's the title we give it. It's called what? HTML. So once you hover, you see it. So that's how you do something like that. Okay, and that looks it looks fancy, but for some of the gurus, that means nothing. But for the for beginners like us, it looks fancy. So that's how you could do something like that. So when you have an attribute, I say attribute, sorry, when you have an abbreviation like WHO, you can come here and say World Health Organization. So yeah, I'm trying not to be too fast with this class so that you can follow along. So when you click on it, hover on it, like put your mouse on top of it, it reads World Health Organization. Okay, so there's a special attribute for this, but let's not go there. All right, so we've talked about the attributes, style attributes, and the title attributes. Okay, talk about comments. All right, now I just read a comment here. What are comments used for? Comments are used to explain, a line of code, okay, or a block of code. All right, yeah, you use comments to explain what you're doing. For example, you can see creating header section. All right, so yeah, the comment doesn't affect how your code is rendered. Okay, this comment is just for other developers that are going to work on this same code, or for yourself also, so that you know what is happening there. Okay, so that's simply comment. As we proceed, you are going to know how to make use of comments rightly. You don't just comment, you don't come here and give a full story. Okay, that's not what it's meant for. It's supposed to be short, precise, and you're supposed to explain what is happening at the point where you inserted the comment. Okay, so this is a comment. A comment can span multiple lines. Okay, so you can have it like this and you can write. Okay, so that's what comments do. There's no big deal about it. Links. Now HTML is called hypertext markup language. Hyper there is for links, that hypertext markup. So you are linking pages, you're linking documents together. That's HTML. That's what it does. Okay, links, they are the beauty of your website. If somebody can't click, on anything on your site, it's basically dead. So you have to have an understanding of links. Okay, we have different types of links. How do you specify links? We can specify links in different ways. Okay, uh, we can specify using this link, you know, element, using the A, yeah, which is an anchor element, and you can use the SRC. The SRC is an attribute, it's not an element. Okay, I forgot to add the href. Href is an attribute I use for anchors. Okay, so let's proceed and see. For example, if I have an external, this is style sheet. Okay, this is CSS I'm trying to write here. Yeah, you can specify this is in an external file using the link tag, and the link tag should be written inside the head. Okay, so when you write a link, you have to specify like relationship, okay, something like that, and say it's a style sheet. Okay, so the browser knows that what you want to link, because you can use this link for several things. Okay, so you have to specify that what's the relationship of what you are linking to this document, and you say it's a style sheet. Okay, so now the href is like your hyper reference. Okay, what is it referencing? Okay, so you can now enter your file name. For example, I could say style.css. So in this style.css, I would have CSS, like this same syntax written inside it, and to affect this my page. Okay, so that is how the link works. Okay, you can use link for several things. Okay, but this is one popular use of the link, you know, element. Okay, so I go again. You have link. Sorry, link rel, like relationship, open and say style sheet. You come here, you say href, okay, and you could say style the CSS. All right, then you come and you close. Now this is a self-closing tag. You notice that there is no, like this. Sorry, like this, LINK. Sorry, link. Okay, there's no closing tag because it's self-closing. So I told you that there are exceptions to that rule that you have to close everything you open. So this is one of them. All right, but still sustain in your mind that you must close everything you open, but know that you have an exception, which is link. Okay, so this is how link works. Okay, so what is style of CSS? It's simply a file that is on the same place as my index. I'll create it and say style.css, and now I have a CSS file. All right, so I can copy these styles that you are seeing here and remove this from here and come here, paste that here, and boom, it's the same. So I'm calling on that document and I'm linking it to this one, so the browser knows that it ought to be, and you see my style remains. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so what's the next guy? The next guy is the A, which is the anchor tag. So you can use the anchor tag to wrap anything. You can use it to wrap an image, you can use it to wrap a text, you can use it to wrap, yeah, what have you. So let's do that. I'll come here and say A space, I'll say A anchor. So I have my anchor created for me automatically. So I can say click here. And just like this, I've created a link. So I say www.google.com. So this is a link like this with href attribute. Okay, this is the same href that you're seeing here. It's a reference to, either the same page or another page. Okay, for now, it's going to google.com. So if I come here, refresh, and click, it tries to take me to google.com. Okay, but it's not working and I know why. Okay, yeah, but that's how links work. Okay, so that's how links work. So I think if I do this, it should work. If it doesn't, I still understand why. Okay, so it's taking me to Google now. Okay, so I have to specify it accurately. All right, so yeah, so what next? I was supposed to be doing, we're supposed to be talking about lists and tables. Okay, so bullets, points and numbering, the numbering system type of stuff. So if you want to do something like this, 1 onion, okay, that's my onion. Pepper, 3 salt. Okay, this is a list. Okay, now this list does not have to be in this order. Okay, when I have a list that does not have to follow a particular order, I simply do something like this, dash. Okay, yeah, dash. Okay, yeah, so dash. This is an unordered list. This is OL, another list. Then another list, which is, okay, this is another list. This is UL, sorry. Why OL is ordered list, O for ordered, L for list. Okay, so I come and say 1, put Maggi, 2, put salt, 3, drink. Okay, so this is an order that you have to follow. Okay, you have to do this. So how do I create something like that? If I come here now, refresh, you see that it's coming on a straight line because this thing is inline by nature. You remember when I talked about inline? Okay, these texts are inline by nature. It's just a text. Okay, it doesn't appear the way you write it here like this. You have to mark it up. You have to use tags to specify that. Okay, so how do you do that? You come here and you simply do a parent tag or a parent element called UL. This is unordered list. U for unordered, L for list. Okay, so I'll come here and say enter, then I'll say LI. So I'm saying list item. So I'll say onion. Yeah, I spelled it right this time. Yeah. Pepper. Okay. I can say list item Maggi. All right, so this should work. Okay, so I'll leave you to try the other as an assignment, which is the ordered list. Okay, because we have pressed 4 times. Yeah, so there's our document again to track what we're doing. All right, so we've covered that. Images, okay, we'll talk about images another time. Let me not go too far, okay, or as we proceed, I want to quickly do something on that letterhead, okay, so that's what I'll be doing next. Let's start creating our letterhead document. All right, so I'm going to simply delete this, move to recycle bin, and I'm going to delete everything we have here, and we'll start again. I told you have to start using the head. So using the HTML, that's the parent of everybody. It tells the browser that the document you're about to receive is, written in the HTML language, okay? Yeah, so we proceed by saying head. All right, inside the head, we have the title. Okay, so I'll say letter head, and that should show at the top of the browser. So if I come here, you see letterhead. Okay, so I'll come here and say body. Okay, then we start writing. Inside the body, what do I want to do? So let me open this. Open file. Yeah, here. So this is what we want to create, but we want to create this looking at our sketched, design. So I'll come here. Yep, and what I'll do for you is I'll create this heading part, and I'll create this first part and I'll let you complete it. Okay. Yeah, as an exercise for you. So let's go. This would be fast. All right. So I have a div. I told you that a div, you know, cuts across the width. Okay. So it closes the entire width. Okay. This is a div. And this height, we have to specify it. Okay. So I can come here and say div. Okay. We have the div there. And I want to give it a name. What's the name? It's the letter head, okay? That's the head section of the letter. So I can say letter, let me use letter head, okay? Although it sounds somehow confusing, I'll say letter head. Okay, before we begin, this letter is a square, okay? So it's like, yeah, just it's a square, okay? It's a sheet. Let's create a sheet and say div. I will call it, give it an idea and say letter. Okay, so we'll come here and we'll see letterhead. And inside we'll see head section. Just let that be for now. We'll come here and we'll say div. We'll say ID. I will call it letter body. All right. You create the footer yourself. So let's go. So when we come here, we'll say body section. We'll come here, refresh. You see that we have both. Okay. So now let's do some styling. So I'll create a style sheet and say style.css. All right, now come here and I want to link that to this my document. I use the link tag. All right, and I'll say style.css. Okay, so this simply means check the same area that I'm on. We are in the index.html document. So simply say check the same place that I am in by using this dot and look for something called style.css. Okay, so that is this, and it gets that, and that can affect our page now. So I want to target the letter. So I'll come to my style sheet and say hash letter. Okay, that's hash means target an element that has an ID using the pound. Okay, letter. and say back is black border around it. So you see that this is our letter and it houses the head and the body section. Okay, so I will go here now. I'll come to my letterhead, which is the ID. I want to target it. And I'll come down and say pound letterhead. Okay, open curly, close curly. Okay, and you say height. Okay, let's see 100 px and see how it looks. But I'll give it a border so that we can see too. Border. There's a way I can do this once for everybody, but I just want to do it separately for you. Okay. Right. So this is the height. Okay. Let me give it a background so that we can see. I can give it the background and see background color black. Okay. Yeah. Time is fast spent. This is it. Okay. So we can see the text again. So I can see the color affects the text, background color affects the background. So I say color white. Now you can see that. Okay. So I will go to our body section and we come here, HTML, copy this, all right? We copy this. So we can copy this, we go there, we say hatch, paste, and we can use exactly what we have here, okay? Yeah, so save. I want this guy to be pink. And it works, okay? So let me extend that. The height is supposed to be more. So I say 600 px. And yeah, now you might be surprised for this long time. This is what we have been able to come up with. Okay, this is simply because I'm trying to get the beginners up to speed and they should understand what's happening. Okay, so yeah, that's why we are here. But this should not take you up to 5 minutes to fix if you were to do it on your own. Okay, so we have the body section, we have the head section. Okay, so yeah, taking it slow and steady. Okay, so we come here. What do we need again? Nothing. So we'll come here and look at our sketch. In our sketch, we have this circle here, okay, and we have this logo, stuff, logo here, stuff. Okay, so in our real design, in fact, let me get rid of the sketch. It's looking too ugly now for me. We see something like a logo, and we have logo here, and we see slogan goes here. Okay, so now let's try to create that. But before then, we have a box here that we have not created. So let's do that. All right. Let's create that box. Now you're going to see some magic that you should be comfortable with because that's what you will be using. Okay. So now this is I'm trying to do that where I'm trying to do that in my head section. All right. And this head is known as what? Letterhead. So that's the ID. So I'll come here and say letterhead should have a display of flex. Now, what this does is that every element that would come inside here would be inline, no matter what they are. If they are a div, divs are blocked normally. So even if it's a div or a span, they are all going to be inline. So flex has that power. So that's what I just did now. So I did that because I want, if we look at our design, I want this guy to be here and everybody can still, flow. Seriously, I'm thinking that would be too much for you guys at this point. So I would use another, way to achieve that. So I can remove this flex here and I can say border left. Okay, you can see 20 px solid blue. All right, so you can get the right color yourself, and you see that we have exactly what's there. So we're making progress. All right, so from here, okay. Then now we can have two divs inside. Now see everything as a div. When you look at a web page, just try to build a structure out of it. For example, this is one, rectangle here, while this is another rectangle, and this is another rectangle. So just structure it like that so that you can be able to build it up. Okay. So we have two divs inside this letterhead. Okay, one for the right and one for the left. So I'll call this ID left, and I'll call this div ID right. Okay. Am I correct? Yeah, I'm correct. So left and right. All right. So these two divs are what we need. And inside this div, I want the logo text that says logo here, and I want a picture that shows the actual logo. Okay. Then at the right, what do I want? At the right, I want this header text and I want this list. Okay. So that's what I want. Okay. So I want a header text and I want list over smartness and I want the list. Okay. So there's a tag that we introduced to you. It's called the break. Okay. Break. It used to take you to the next line. Okay. The text after the break begins at the next line. Okay. I would show you by leaving this like this and making this using the break here. So if I refresh here, you would see that the picture has a logo here. Okay, why the header and the text list are on the same line, but the logo came to the next line is because of the break. So picture, logo here. But so I'm going to use this here to be arrow. And if I save, come here and refresh, you see that they're on their own lines now. Okay, so I want these two guys to have border, the right and the left. I want them to have a border so that we can see them separately. We can have a visual separation. So I'll see left and I'll see right. Okay, and I'll see border would be solid white. So you should see that now. Okay, both of them are now separate so that you can see. So now these are block level elements by nature. That's why you are seeing it taking the whole space. So how do we force them to be on the same line? There are two ways to do that, but one of them is problematic and the other one is more professional. So I would make use of the other, which is the flex. So I have to go back to flex. I should be rounding up really, really soon. Yeah, in the next 8 minutes, we should be done. Now, this was supposed to be a 1-hour class, but I'm sorry I took your time. So I'll be rounding up now in 8 minutes time. So let's see how we can speed up. All right, so I will have to make their parent, which is the head, the letterhead element. I want to make this guy a flex container. If I make it a flex container, everything inside it becomes inline, no matter what their natural, display type is, they become inline. It means they will flow on a straight line. So I'm going to make this letterhead a flex container. So I'll come here and say, where is my letterhead? And say display flex. This, boom, and you see both of them are on, a straight line. So I'll just quickly come here and say I want both of them to be 50 width. Okay, so 50% width and 50% width for each. So I'll come here and just say width 50%. Okay, now this is like two classes in one. But as we meet more and more, this concept will become clearer. Okay, so this is what we have now. So I have the picture the logo here. I have the header text. I have a list. So let me replace these things with their actual content. I'll leave the picture like that, but I'll just do something. So I want something called a padding. There's a concept called padding and margin. Now, what is a padding? A padding is simply the space within the edges of a container and its content. For example, this is the content of this container, and the edges, we want the space around the edges so that this picture would, why margin is the space outside, that's from the edge outside of the container to, anywhere, just space outside the container. It's called margin. So margin and padding you have there. So this should have a padding of 20 px. Save, come here, and just like that, you see it works. So I have logo here, picture, I have header and text. Let me do the right. I'll come here, and this is what we have here. We have the right. Okay. I introduced you to a tag called the H1 tag. Okay, so I'm going to use that here. And I'll say H1. And I'll say this is a company. Okay, I'll send you this design after the class, and you should be able to figure out the real text there. I said this is a company. That looks too big, so I can reduce it by using H4. Okay, 1 is the highest. I told you we have 1 to 6, and 4 is somewhere in between. So I have this company there. Still looking too big. I can use H6 now. 6 now. So okay, so this guy has a margin by default. If I click and inspect it now, you see that it has a margin by default. Here's the space you are seeing there. You can see that and give it now margin. I'll come and say H. Let me use H5. I'll go back and change it. H5 margin 5px. Okay, I reduced it drastically. I'll come here and make this H5. Okay, H5. Okay, so I'll just come here. Let me make this our services. Okay, I'll just come here and say, on the list sales of computer accessories. Now, not to spell again, so it's as programming. Okay, so yeah, just like that, we have blah blah blah. All right, so we have this, and the text looks too big. So I can say another list. I'll give you a class and say small text. Okay, so I'll just come to my CSS. I have 2 minutes more. Dot small text. Okay, and there we go. Font size. I'll say 10px. Let's see how that works. Oops. Small text. Font size. Family. Okay, it's better. All right, the lists, they come with their own default properties, and one of them is that they have a padding, I think. Yeah, they have a default margin. Okay, margin. So I'm going to cancel. I think it's a padding. I think it's a padding. Yeah, yes, you can see it 40, man. Padding left 40. So I'm going to remove it. I'm going to come here and say small text. Now there are better ways to do this, but small text padding left 0. So that it goes in the same line. Okay, just like this. All right, so yeah, we can go on and keep styling it until we get what we want. Okay, but because of time, you have all the tools you need, to make it look like this. They look far from each other, but yeah, we are almost getting there. You get here with experience, more and more practice. Okay, so I think that we'll stop here. This class is already too long. Yeah, so we'll stop here, and you can reach out to me, or you can suggest a time where we can have a free class and build this together. But till we meet again, it's your guy Slick Codes. Thank you for joining to this class. I'm sorry for taking so much time. I hope I was able to get the beginners, along. And for the bad guys, we'll have a class for you soon. All right. Have a good night, everybody. See you